Hi. Keep chopping my head off. Here we are.
So today, welcome to Trip Chat. Today we've got
Thanks for having me.
slightly beardy, hairy Bjorn with us.
Yeah, sorry.
Bjorn
Yeah,
is very well known in the world as the social traveler. I've known you for, I don't know, 8 years now?
yeah, something like that. 2013.
That's, yeah, well, so some of the pictures are like really old, which is, some I thought, wow, I remember you like that, and others I'm like, oh my God, he looks so young.
Yeah, now there's like gray hair going through everything. Yeah, it's kind of
It's very
yeah,
different now, isn't it?
time
So
passed.
we kind of want to go through the whole journey if we can. So, do you want to start at the beginning? What made you become the social traveler? Because you're a social person. Anyone who knows you knows that. So that was an easy one. But what made
hmm
you become the social traveler to start with?
Because I was at the time working for social networks, and it was also 2010, 2009 to 10, where social media became more and more mainstream. My mom got on Facebook and stuff, so it's taking off, and I then just got the idea to travel the world on based on people's suggestions. So not to follow any guidebooks or not to use any search engines, and yeah, just put myself out there and see if there would be somebody interested in following, but also on yeah, telling me where to go and what to do, how to get there. Give the opportunity to people to like host me or invite me anywhere. I usually said yes to
I
meet.
know there were some very interesting stories there. So, how quickly did you actually gain a followership? Can you remember that?
Um, it kind of gradually grew. It's like I'm going at the rate of 1,000 on Facebook at least per year. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a lot of the people that join are friends of people that I met, or like, so it's really a community. People know what it's about, and usually when I ask for something, people are quite responsive, and yeah, so it started all as one big experiment, and the main reason was also that I wanted to see the world as real as it was, so not sugar coated, but like true people's experiences or locals. Yeah.
Yeah. And how much of the world have you now seen? Like, people country bag, but you've been around once, at least,
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, I've been mainly, let's say, Europe, North Africa, big parts of Asia, like India, Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia. Been to Oceania or Australia, New Zealand, and North America, yeah, as well. Yeah, and but I traveled really slow and always following people's suggestions. And to make things a little bit more interesting for myself and for people that were following, I let people give me challenges. And from the beginning, that was also like following over the continent. So I didn't have to fly all around the world. Just I followed a certain trajectory, and on that trajectory, people were, coming up with challenges. And when I accepted it, I went out to do it because I
Yeah.
didn't want to just do everything because that would turn into jackass.
Yeah. So do you remember your very first challenge?
Yeah. There was Camino de Santiago in Spain. So,
We
which
actually have a
is
photo of that as well. So
Let's
it's a
see what
900
that looks like.
kilometer hike through Spain. There's different routes that you can take, and I took the Camino Frances,
yep.
and it's roughly 1 million steps that you take, and yeah, it was pretty awesome, and it was a good introduction to my travels because I came from like normal job, normal life, and then suddenly I found myself with a way too heavy backpack in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in France to start this journey. Like, well, that was actually a problem because the backpack was 19 kilo. Uh, yeah, and you start right on the side, in the French side, before crossing the Pyrenees. Yeah, so that you had to go make all the altitude with that backpack. But along the way, I could send some forward, some 5 kilos or something, and then I start meeting people along the way.
Yeah, on this photo you have a crazy-looking guy.
I think it was actually your friend who set you on the challenge, went with you, didn't he?
Yeah, Theo. He was actually my ex-colleague, and he decided to give me the challenge, and also he joined.
Well done of him.
that was good time. Like, he's a good guy, and we met so many people along the way, and at some point, like, people, get together, like, group a little bit, and so you kind of build a Camino family, and over time people kept meeting each other again. So you walk 25 to 30 kilometers, and then in the evening you have a beer or some wine, and then you do
and then you have a head, and then you don't want to walk.
And that took about 33 days. Every day we walked like a certain minimum 20 kilometers, and it was awesome. Like, after some time you kind of like start living in your own little bubble on that way, and time becomes different. You're kind of disconnected from the real world, and it goes slow. You step 1 million steps, and 33 days, and then when you're in Santiago de Compostela, you take a plane to Barcelona, which is roughly the same distance, and that's 1 hour. Just it gives you like a good understanding of distance, like, and also, of course, how people back in the day traveled, walking or by horse.
Yeah. Is it true? I think now, I'm not sure about back then, you could actually get an armband to say that you were on the walk, and a lot of local places would put you up for the night and give you accommodation if you would actually prove that you were doing the pilgrimage trail.
Yeah, you get like a stamp card, and every time when you start in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, you get the card, and then you get your first stamp, and that kind of shows that you are a pilgrim. And most people also have a what's it? Jacobsschelp. I don't know what it is in English. Like a shell they put on the back of their backpack.
Okay.
So, yeah, and the thing is, so you have people that start from France or further even. You can start anywhere in Europe. And then you have the people that start at the very end, like where you still are eligible for the certificate, which is like 110 kilometers or something.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a big contrast when you start arriving in this area. Like, everybody that started back in France looks like a total hobo, and but super fit, and then you see people with umbrellas, like nicely washed t-shirts and stuff like that. Yeah. They call that peregrinos. That was a nice contrast, and we decided. So we went to Compostela, and then that was nice, like that's the goal. But then we decided to continue to the seaside, which is 3 more days, like 100 kilometers, and then you actually arrive at the end, like at the sea. So that was a nice ending to it, Yeah, you couldn't go any further.
Land's End.
So when was it during your travels you thought, I'm going to take my lovely shiny yellow Volkswagen van on the journey? When did that love affair?
That started 4 years later.
Okay, we need to show the van picture now. So
yes, okay. That's Rose.
And then
Rose.
Every van needs to have it.
And I got their challenge to find an old VW van in Canada and cross Canada, and along the way I had to learn to play the guitar. That was the challenge, and I got that from the community. And then I contacted Canada Tourism Board. They really liked that idea, and they decided to support me, and so we did this crazy journey of 6 months I had no search engines, no guidebooks, so just people helping me first of all to find this van because I didn't have any, and so some guy posted a link from I think it's called Kijiji in Canada. It's like Craigslist something, and I was in Alberta, which is in the west, and the car Rose. Like I saw the photo, I was immediately in love, and that was in Montreal, which is the other side of the country. So I took the train for 3 days. 3 days on a train, like the Via Rail, all the way to Montreal. And there, because I was then saying, hey, I'm on my way to Montreal, anybody there? And then Sebastian reacted. And Sebastian, I met on a party in Thailand, full moon party in Thailand, like a few years before that. And he invited me to his house, and I could stay there for like 10 days. And he helped me, to get to the car. We took it for a spin, we bought it, and then I had to get it checked and get it registered. And he helped with all the paperwork. And that's how I got the van. And then I was gonna do all the provinces through Canada, so I had to go more east first. So I went to Newfoundland, all the way there with this. At that time Rose was really loud.
Yeah, I remember. Didn't you break down a couple of times? We've now had to put picture up on her just at the cliffs, but we also have a frosty Rose. Let's see.
Oh, yes. So Newfoundland is like in the east, and then that was like plus 35 degrees in July, or I think it was July, yeah. And then start driving, and by December I made it to the Yukon magically because the car, and then I had to go to Dawson City, which is at the border with Alaska. And it was December already, and outside temperature on the Alaska highway is like minus 30, minus 35.
Yeah, who cares?
It was also like there was barely any light. And every time I was telling people that I was going to do this, I was going to drive with this van to Dawson City. The Canadians are like, oh my God, we have to prepare you. So they helped me. They gave me some people gave me like big jackets. Like some woman said, to her husband, you don't use your jacket anymore. So here, we don't want you to die in the cold. And then like a jumpsuit, like padded, really cool. So a survival kit, like when you get stuck with your car. Like they have like a shovel and some little stones, so it tracks you out of it. So yeah, people were very, very supportive, but they also all said, "Don't do it," especially with a car like that. And drive, and it was quite a challenge. Like, so I was really well dressed, like really warm. The heating in the car did not work, and nobody wants to work on it because those cars have the habit of exploding because with the gas heating, so nobody wants to touch it. So I had to find a different solution. So well dressed, people gave me these heat pads, like you can crack it like in your gloves over the gloves, and you start driving. And again, like 4 or 5 hours sunlight per day, and I could do maximum. I couldn't drive in the dark. And the first day, one of my headlights just went. So
of course.
One headlight. I'm like, really? And that's the first time on the 6-month trip I had any problems with my headlights. So I was like, oh God, yeah, perfect. Thanks, Rose. Anyway, I got going, and I think at some point I had a close encounter with like a buffalo or a bison, and so I was driving to like a town, like a gas station. Usually you can stay there, so I was like, okay, I hope I can stay there, and it was still light, but then they said no rooms here, so you have to continue. So I had to do another 100 kilometers, and then it was dark and also colder, of course. So inside your window is freezing. It's closing like this, your visibility, and you have like this one light on this road like, and you're freezing, and no, like suddenly I see like a reflection, like a small reflection, and there's a freaking bison standing on the road, like. Just like oh, I just couldn't dodge it. Like luckily it didn't move. But yeah.
Yeah, because even the bison was like, "What the hell is this guy doing here?" That's the wrong car.
Yeah. So and that was quite the ride. So it took 4 days, and then finally made it to Dawson City, and people were all quite impressed.
Yeah.
We drove there with that van. Yeah.
And you had to drive it all the way back, I suppose. Or what did you do then? How many bisons did you meet on that? But you did learn how to play the guitar. Do you still play the guitar?
No. I can't say I do. Like, but I learned like some songs, some like melodies, and the tricky part was that always people were very willing to teach, but always something else. So like, oh, this is the classic guitar. Oh, this is more like the rock guitar. Do you know the rock chord? And oh, this is like in Newfoundland, it's more like folky.
Yeah.
So all kind of different styles. So I got like a crash course in every different style going along the way. But by the end, I could, I played the chords okay, and I could read them and play songs. But I didn't keep practicing.
Yeah.
Well, when would you?
So, of course, during your travels sort of through Asia and places like that, there's places you can't take rows, really. So you have to rely on more local forms of transport. We've got a few photos here with bicycles.
With what?
With bicycles? Your tandem.
With push bikes.
Yeah. Well, that was before rows.
Yeah.
And there my challenge was to cross Southeast Asia on a tandem bike from Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia to Hong Kong, which is 5,000 kilometers, more or less. Mm-hmm. And I had to find people to join me on this tandem bike. And I was like, what? I got the challenge from Melanie. She's from the Netherlands, and I met her in Bali, yeah. And so in the Netherlands, they like cycling, and she was like, oh, you should cycle through Southeast Asia on a tandem bike. Okay, yeah, right. So, yeah, did that.
We have a picture of you with a little monkey. Did the monkey cycle your bike?
No, I just hopped on.
So that's, do you remember where that is?
I think, that was Koh Tao, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Turtle Island, yeah.
And that tandem stayed with you the whole time? It's a very colorful
tandem. I have it here in Berlin.
That's cool.
That's also a really, really cool story. I mean, there's so many stories about that tandem journey, but how it got back to Europe, or how it got to Europe, because first of all, finding it was really a problem. In Kuala Lumpur, they don't cycle so much, and definitely not tandem bikes. So I had to find one first. So also no Google, so via. I found one. It was like at a manufacturer in a box, so put it together. I did 500 kilometers with that bike, and that then just collapsed. So the wheel like collapsed under the weight.
I think we actually have a photo of you having to do some repairs.
Yeah, that happened a lot, like almost daily.
Yeah.
Almost, like really, like because the bike I then where the first bike crashed or collapsed, I got a new one. But that was just like in a Chinese bike store, and they had one tandem bike in the back, and it wasn't very high, so I had to put in like a higher seat, because, and then you have this tall European guy on this
exactly Chinese people bike
cycling, and it wasn't made for a lot of weight, I'm sure, and. So you had a person that joins on the back. Usually they also had a backpack. So their backpack also on the back. And the panniers. It put a lot of strain on the back wheel and on the tires. And I had to at some point explain in Vietnamese that the chain link should be a little bit more wide. But you had to actually literally draw it. And no, that's Chinese brand. Oh, this is Vietnamese, it's better. Yeah, but it's the wrong dimensions. Yeah, but so the whole thing, and then got it back to I got it back to Belgium actually, because I met some guy in Hong Kong, and he was like, how are you gonna get your bike back to Europe? I'm like, not sure. I'm gonna try to put it in luggage in the airport, like, put it apart and wrap it around and something like that, and try to get it stowed in the plane. And he's like, no, well, you know what? You cycle all the way here, 5,000 kilometers. I have some connection at, I think it was TNT. And so he called a colleague, and he got to TNT to send my bike properly in a safe box all the way to Europe. And they did that as a favor, which was that was amazing.
Yeah.
And also there you learn like that everything kind of
persuasive person
happens when it needs to happen.
Yeah. So then, when did it sort of appear in your head that you could actually do this for a living?
I think in 2000. With the tandem bike that was already partially sponsored, that was 2012, and then 2013 I was in Europe, in Berlin, and I got this challenge for Rose, for the van, and so I had to find a way to make this possible because it's quite expensive buying that van, crossing all of North America. And so I heard about ITB, so I went to ITB, and I had no experience whatsoever, 0 appointments, and I just went to the stand of Canada and asked for the responsible. Barbara Ackerman, by the way, she's awesome, and so she was obviously fully booked, but I said I'll wait, so I just waited for an hour. Sitting there, and then she came down like, sir, I really don't have any time now, but since you are like so persistent, come see me later at this like a speed networking thing. So I went there, like poured all my enthusiasm on her, and like, oh, this is the project, this is what I have to do, can we do something together? She loved it, she loved the idea, and then we managed to get all the provinces, cities on board, and
I know. And years later,
and then that's the
8 years later, you were in Canada when World Travel Market was on, and I do remember that we were sitting in Canada's stand upstairs in the VIP lounge and got drinks on you, hosting to you while you were working, and we were like,
awesome,
whining and dining on your behalf.
That's
Same
good.
lady, like, you're friends of Bjorn. Yes, here's your drinks. He's doing awesome job.
That's the thing, like, about just being social, put yourself out there, be respectful and friendly, and if people see you do something, you have a lot of people who talk about things, but it's better when you start doing something. People will appreciate that effort, and also if there's a win-win somewhere, why not? People are happy to support that.
Because there's a picture here. We have of you wearing almost a suit. I think you're with your bike.
Oh yeah, be part of the adventure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was my. I ran out of money while I was like with this bike thing, and that was a desperate attempt of getting some funding coming in via micro payments, and so I thought, okay, maybe I should look a little bit more business. So I had this cardboard on the back of my bike. So when I was cycling alone, which was not much on this. I think 5 months and a half, 10 days. So I then put this sign on the back of my bike, so people could be like, all right. So just kind of like jump on. That was kind of the idea. And 25 different people joined me. I really, honestly, in the beginning, I thought like, who is gonna want to cycle with an absolute stranger through Southeast Asia? On a tandem bike, but many did.
Yes.
It's it. You never know until you put yourself out there and
and go.
What was the furthest one of them did?
3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, we were there was a guy from Australia. And
yeah, I know. Yeah.
And he was as tall as me.
Yeah.
So
oh my God,
really fun to see us on this bicycle because and his knees were always hitting the handle. So we had to sit like this, and then we cycle over the Vietnamese. It was in Vietnamese roads, and so you have people on their rice fields working, and they go like. Two tall guys, and we were always singing, and Hanoi, Hanoi, we're going to Hanoi. Because after some time you have to entertain yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
A funny story on that was also that we were cycling to a little village, and there were 5 guys sitting around a crate of beer, and they were like, "Oh, come here." All in Vietnamese. So we had they spoke 0 English and we spoke 0 Vietnamese, but there was beer, and we were sitting all together around this crate and cheers, up, drink. And that was really funny. At some point, some guy, his phone rings, and he goes "Oh!" Everybody knew who was calling. Everybody. That was
universal language of
laughing with each other at each other oh my God, yeah, Asia, Europe, Australia. Guys going to find a place around the crate of beer and spend some time away from the wife. Yeah, that was really, really, really funny. So many.
Now you've started. Well, you've set yourself a new challenge, and that is to write a book. Obviously, as we can hear, you're still the storyteller per se. So, writing a book sounds like it's a natural evolution from all of this, but actually,
it's hard.
How did it come to that? What made you think, okay, let's put it into writing?
Because I really learned a lot along the way. And I kind of want to share that a little bit in the book. That also mostly people are not bad, You see in the media a lot of the time, ooh, watch out for that guy. Watch out for that guy. Oh, those people. And actually, 10 years doing this, I've had the most amazing encounters. I've been welcomed in so many different places. In so many remote places, even cities, small towns in the countryside, and everywhere, it's really nice. Actually, it's very comforting, and that you're not really alone, and that there's all I always say, when you have a problem, just ask people around you, and don't be afraid of others. And I kind of want to share that by having a learning and then sharing a story that kind of backs it up, where it shows that there's no reason to be afraid of anybody, and as long as you have people around, you'll be fine for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started a funding page on Patreon.
Yes. It's cool. It's Patreon. And thanks for supporting, by the way.
Of course.
And it's patreon.com/The Social Traveler, and I'm trying to get some more constant income source, monthly. So the goal is it helps with the book, and people also there's different benefits, and one of them is of course also that they get the book when it's finally done. They get to vote on which stories should go in the book or not, and they also are mentioned as a co-publisher in the book, and so that's kind of like the idea. People are again helping, taking part, but not just like that. There's something they get in return, and I try now to write like every other day, like write another story, and it's the hard part. It's like finding a structure is, I think, tricky, and then like writing it, and then like, oh wait, I should go and rewrite. But it's a process, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
So I take it you're mostly in touch with people you met along your 8 years of travel, but on the other hand, it's probably hard to keep in touch with everyone, right? Because there's probably so many people you've met.
Yes, social media, awesome, and and that's couldn't have done it without social media, really. And it's you kind of keep people in your mind, and some people you stay closer, and others, it fades away, but it doesn't
it never goes away, does it? No.
Like you have a story together, you did something together, and that's always, you always remember that. And many people I've seen after years, again, it feels like, like as if we saw each other yesterday or something. And I try to stay in touch with as many people as possible.
Within reason. Do you then kind of have to go back to some and say, how was that exactly? Like, do you think the story in your head has evolved and is completely wrong now?
Absolutely.
You have to
go. You always think like, oh man, that was such an amazing experience. Never gonna forget it. Never. And then you're like, oh wait, like 5 years later, you're like, oh no, what? Yeah. But luckily, photos help. I have a lot of photos, and of course also the memories of people themselves that also were part of it. So I'm trying to also look for an angle that they can kind of like
participate.
Not write a whole story, but like have a little bit of their feedback on it, or how they experienced it from their point of view. That's fun. And also, so sometimes people are like, oh, do you remember there? Like,
that was after the beer.
Do you want to remember?
Sometimes, I have to be honest, I don't remember everything and everybody, but I'm pretty good at remember most things. So and it's all now. Thank you, coronavirus, and there's time. And so that's also a reason, like, there's suddenly time to actually write this. And otherwise, now I would probably be traveling again. And it's good for self-reflection and just focus on story and this now challenge as well. And I hope it's gonna work out. I try to stay motivated, and people are supportive. So that's definitely awesome.
That's actually a wonderful note to kind of put perspective on the crisis, because that's what we have as well. We'd be on the road now, like all the travel involved people would be on the road or would be involved in travel, and was currently stuck. And it's a wonderful time for self-reflection. And everyone always says, travel is not just about, it's how you get there and what, like, the whole journey is story. And now you're like have time to actually tell the story, when at the time you had to be live looking at you. And
that's the thing, like you want to be there. You don't want to. You can write, but the way with the traveling was very, very social and always very active as well. So it was kind of like to collect your thoughts and all that. It's good to have now some dedicated time to it. And I really start to enjoy it very much. It's like even like in lockdown, like in one place, every day I go for a walk and try to write a story or start one or do share on social media. And it's okay. It's good.
I always remember the one challenge you guys didn't finish was running a marathon. Remember that?
Marathon.
Yeah.
We meant to do it.
Yeah, well, I actually was supposed to do a triathlon this year, and so I started training, and yeah, Corona. So it's normally in June, and yeah, no more swimming pool. So yeah, but yeah, if, marathon, where, when, how, what?
No, I was just so amazed when Sean said you're very persuasive. You know, I took half a year to persuade him to run like
around the block.
20 minutes exactly, and then you meet him 2 days later, and he's like, "I'm running a marathon."
You guys were
How did you
running
do this?
like now like a lot, right?
Yeah, probably. Or we're walking a lot more now, but yeah, there was something
no marathon.
I just wasn't into. I suppose losing about 25 kilos kind of helped as well. You know, you're not lugging. It's like running with a backpack. You know.
Yeah, exactly. It's less weight you drive with you. Yeah, absolutely. That helps.
Cool. Do we have any pictures we've kind of missed that we should
no, we'll put a nice one. There's a nice picture of you. It's a selfie on a beach.
How original.
You're looking very
young.
Very young and fresh.
You have a beard, but it's a lot shorter than this one.
Yeah, but this is okay. For the record, quarantine beard.
Yes.
I kind of like decided to let it as long as we're locked in. Yeah, well, beach photo. Yes, yeah, that's gonna be Camino de Santiago.
So that's at the end of that.
Yeah, that's Finisterre.
That makes sense.
Beautiful, right?
Yes, it's very beautiful.
It's a beautiful place. Like it's just, and we were lucky, like because it rains in that area a lot, and it was like blue sky. It's like you walk 900 kilometers, and you're like, oh my god, this is we just ran
paradise.
Into
Awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Well, thank you, Bjorn. This was so nice to speak to you.
Thank you for the invitation.
And we'll try to at least put all your links underneath it'll be on YouTube and it'll be on Facebook to watch after. And we'll add your links so that if people want to follow your new channel, or kind of even donate a little bit monthly to help you write your book, that would be awesome, wouldn't it?
That would be awesome. Thanks.
Cool.
See you
soon.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.
All right, thanks for Bjorn for spending some time with us on Thursday.
My pleasure.
Thursday we have a friend of mine, Bill Thompson from Hello Scotland, who do corporate and incentive trips. We'll be chatting to him about everything he does. But until then, stay safe, stay isolated. And